Welcome back to the All Things Real Estate Show. I am one of your co-hosts. I am Aaron Zapata.
And I am the other co-host. I am Todd Anderson.
We are with the Bald Brothers team here at Impact Properties, and we wanted to just bring an episode to you today to talk about a number of different topics going on in real estate.
Yep, we are all things real estate. We can only talk about a few things one episode at a time. And today, we want to talk about a few things. The main thing we're going to talk about today is squatters.
Squatters.
Did you know squatters have rights? Squatters' rights? We're going to talk about that.
Is this the kind of guy that's at the gym and he's like working out and he's like squatting?
Yeah, I knew you were going to go there.
Do they have rights?
Well, it depends on how long they've been at the squat rack. You know, some gym might have a time limit on how long you're allowed to stay at a station.
Stay at a station, that's right. Well, I don't think we're talking about gym squatters.
Yeah, and I don't think we're talking about the squatters I grew up with, the elderly people.
Tell me more.
I grew up in Okinawa.
Okay.
And oftentimes you'd see people squatting by the side of the road, just squatting to rest.
Right.
And very limber, probably much more limber than I am. But no, we want to talk about squatters, people who actually, without your permission, go into your property and live there.
Hey, Todd, can I ask you a favor?
Yeah.
If people go to baldbrothers.tv, can we post a video of you demonstrating squatters?
That might have to be. We might have to create a paywall that people have to go behind. They got to pay for that.
I don't know, Todd. I'm going to challenge you right now. I think that a visual demonstration of your childhood is totally worthy for our listeners and our viewers.
I think we just need to move it right along.
Baldbrothers.tv. Go there. I'm going to post a video of Todd squatting. I might challenge myself to see. You know what? When I was in India, they do the same thing.
Yeah. And my wife is from East Africa. Same thing.
Yeah.
So we just here we
like to sit in chairs.
We like to sit in chairs.
Yeah.
So we want to talk about squatters, but before that, we want to talk about kind of a follow-up to something that we've talked quite a bit about, is the fact that Californians are moving out of California. Now,
are they?
They are moving out of California. Now, we are not moving, but we represent California in the California market. There's a couple of different articles that talk about where people are moving to. You have one of those articles up, right?
I do. In fact, this one comes to us from our friend John Lansner over at the Orange County Register.
Okay.
He writes a real estate column there. It's hotly debated. I've been reading his columns for nearly 20 years since I got my broker's license, and he's quoted me in the past. I've asked him some questions. He's done some research and some articles based on some suggestions. And so, he tries to look at all the data and put it together, and he created this Leaving California scorecard.
Okay.
And he said that his initial, post got a lot of comments, and so he went back and he redid it, and he says, to get past my personal blind spots, this edition of Leaving California scores relocation options for Californians on a simple scale. The average ranking derived from 9 other best state scorecards. These grades are based on a host of economic and demographic factors, each with its own wisdom or not, backing the math. So I know that our average customer is moving to one of 5 states or 6 states. I mean, we have Idaho, Tennessee, Texas, Nevada, Arizona, and a lot of the Carolinas now.
Yep.
Like that's kind of it. That's where most of our clients are moving to.
Yeah,
and in
but
fact,
this article says something different, doesn't it?
It says something totally different. It says that based on these best state scorecards, that number 1 place to move, top spot, New Hampshire.
New Hampshire. And I don't think you and I have had a single client that has moved to New Hampshire in the last couple of years.
No one has called us up and said, I'm going to New Hampshire, guys. I need your help. Never.
Yeah.
Like ever in the history of I've sold a lot of property.
Yeah.
Okay, then comes Vermont.
Okay.
Then Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
New Jersey. And Minnesota, don't you know?
Okay, yeah, Minnesota.
I don't
New
have
Jersey, really?
I don't have anybody who's called me to move to any of these places.
You know, and we did a previous show where we talked about the mass exodus from New York.
Right.
But I doubt they're moving from New York to New Jersey.
Maybe they are. I don't know. Go across the river.
Well, that's interesting. But, you know, it lends a question. What is the best place to move? Is there a single best place to move?
So California was 37th on the list, like way down there.
Okay, yeah.
But as he says, that means there are 13 worse states to move to.
Yeah. What was the worst one?
The worst state, according to his new chart, is, and you know, if you live here, we don't know you personally, so don't take offense, but it's Louisiana.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Louisiana
is the worst state according to the average ranking.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyways, it's where it is.
Well, where you move to, as I said earlier, you know, there's no one answer.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different reasons. Now, there is another article that we'll put in the show notes, by the way. And by the way, if you're tuning in right now, you are listening to All Things Real Estate with the Bald Brothers team at Impact Properties. You can reach us by calling 833-305
Bald.
Yep, Bald, B-A-L-D.
B-A-L-D.
As in no hair.
And that is an 800 number?
Yep.
Because it starts with an 8, Todd.
So
we've had this debate before.
Yeah, it's an 800 number, but don't call 800. Call 833.
833. See, 800-33-305 Bald. And you can call it 24 hours a day. It is manned by a answering service that take all your information, and we do call you back. We do get the messages delivered there.
So the person who answers the phone may or may not have hair. We can't guarantee that. But we can guarantee that we will not have any hair. So you can call us. You can also go to baldbrothers.tv for all of our online presence. We do have a .com website, but don't go to baldbrothers.com because that's not us. baldbrothers.tv. You can reach us. Now, as I was just talking about, we're talking about, before we get into the main part of our show today, there was another article, and we'll put all of this in our show notes, of a location that a lot of people are moving to, and that is Las Vegas. Now, now you would say, why would you move to Las Vegas? It's so hot there.
It was hot. When I was going to Zion and back, 114.
Yeah, yeah.
I practically melted.
Yeah.
In fact, I had a Starbucks I left in my car.
Mm-hmm.
Totally worthless when I got back because it was totally like boiled.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, made a mistake. But Las Vegas, number one, number one for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, actual numbers of moving, not this report card.
Yeah.
But I've had friends that moved there. I've had agents that worked at Impact Properties that moved there. Why would people move there?
People like the tax environment, for one. That's one main reason. There's another reason that this article, if you go to, talks about the median price of a home there is about half of what it is here in California. Now, if you're in the Bay Area, I think the median price is 1.3, 1.4, something like that.
It's a lot.
It's a lot of money. And so you can get a home. I can't remember what the article said. I think it's in the low 400s as the median price for a home. And so that's one of the draws. But, of course, you can go to other states for that similar price structure as well. But very interesting because Las Vegas is also very close. I remember a couple of years ago, I had to drive one of my daughters out to a dance event in Las Vegas, but I had to get back by the middle of the day for an appointment for a meeting. And I was able to drive out there, drop her off in Las Vegas, and drive back, and I made it to my appointment in time. So the proximity is a draw for people as well.
Speed demon, so don't let him fool you there. Actually, speaking of that real quick, I was filling up gas at a Costco here in Orange County, and this guy was just driving a black Corvette filling up. I'm like, dude, nice car. He's like, yeah, I just came from Vegas. I'm like, how long did it take you? 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
I was like, 2.5 hours? Man, how fast were you going? It's like, like an average 125.
Yeah.
Anyways, the other reason people move to Vegas is because some people move there, and then because there's no state income tax, they actually still work here.
Yeah.
I was at Southwest Airlines at John Wayne, and I went on a Monday, on a Thursday, and I had to fly to Vegas before to get my connector. And it was like I was flying with a bunch of people that were all friends.
Wow.
It was literally the Monday, Thursday crew. Like every Monday, these people fly in together. Every Thursday, they fly home. And so I'm sure it's like 12 to 18 people on the flight. They all knew each other. And we're like, hey, Bob. Hey, Sally. Blah, blah. And they're all friends. And they're like sitting together.
Commute.
And I was like, just like a regular commute.
Yeah.
Anyways, So
it's like your carpool.
That's right.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking about leaving California, please give us a call. We have agents and connections all over the country, and we have helped families like yours leave the state.
Yeah, and although we haven't had anybody move to New Hampshire in the last couple of years, if you want to move to New Hampshire, we do have contacts over there. We can help you with that.
On the off chance that you do, we can help you.
Yep, and how do they get a hold of us, Aaron?
833-305-BALD.
That's right. BALD, baldbrothers.tv.
That's right.
Well, hey, let's talk about the main thing we want to talk about in today's episode.
The main event.
The main event. And we teased it at the beginning, squatters. Now, there is an interesting news story that has been national news in the last couple of weeks. And this is a story that takes place in the Hollywood Hills. There is a multi-million-dollar mansion that recently hit the headlines because of some squatters who took up residence in that property. But they didn't just take up residence in the property, they trashed it. They destroyed the property.
Yep. They got access to it, moved in, decide to make it their living trash pile.
Yeah.
I mean, they found really gross stuff in there.
Yeah.
They destroyed the property. They vandalized the property.
Yeah.
They wrote nasty words, and
they graffiti on the outside, disparaging the wealthy. And
it was. You know what I got this to say. If you have a multi-million-dollar mansion, I would expect that you could visit it more often. And if you, by chance, live overseas somewhere and you've got this American home, I have no idea who the owner is, so I'm not making any implications here. But if you're gone for a long periods of time, because I know a lot of people that have homes in the Hollywood Hills use them only part of the time of the year.
Yeah.
When you're gone, have somebody there.
Yeah.
Right? Pay somebody to sleep there, to guard it, because in this situation, it was completely vacant. And when the police were called, they showed up. And what did they do, Todd?
They just basically gave them a slap on the wrist and told them to leave. And one of the problems is they couldn't get a hold of the owners.
Where are you,
And so the owners weren't there to press charges, to do anything beyond that. So the police just got rid of them. And this multi-million-dollar mansion is probably still multi-million dollars, but a few less dollars.
Millions. A few yet less million. And in fact, if you're the owner and you're listening to this, we would love to help you sell it as is.
Yeah, we can do that.
Because we sell properties as is.
Go to baldbrothers.tv. You can watch a video on how we sell properties as is.
And you can also see Todd squatting.
Well, that remains to be seen. Don't give promises that we can't keep, Aaron. I'm not promising anything.
We have an SEO, we see when people go to our website. And so if you're like listening to the show or you're watching it and you hop over, I'll just know it's because of that right there. We know what you want to see.
So, hey, this is a very real scenario that people fear. We work primarily with sellers. By the way, we do also work with buyers, but primarily we work with sellers. And one of the main things when you're selling is if you're going to have a vacant property, and a lot of the homes that we sell are vacant, you want to make sure that you've put some safeguards up to prevent squatters, because this is the very real reality that many people are not aware of, that in the state of California, there is a legal way by which a squatter can receive the title to the property. I want to say it's a legal way by which they can steal property from the rightful owner. But of course, if it's legal, then I guess it's not stealing.
That's right. And before we give there, just reminder to people, we're not your legal advisors. We're not your financial advisors. We're not even your realtors, unless you're working with us directly. Of course, we'd love to do that. But you got to talk with an attorney if you're dealing with a squatter situation. So talk to us about what you're just going to say. The adverse possession rule.
Oh, yeah. So there is a rule in the state of California. It's called the adverse possession rule. And there are 5 different criteria by which you can obtain title to a property that does not belong to you if you are a squatter. The first rule is that it's called hostile, that you basically have the property and it's without permission. It doesn't
mean you're violent or like you're out there fighting
kicking holes in the wall.
Like, this is mine. It just means that you don't have the permission to be there.
Yeah.
In essence, a form of trespassing.
That's right. Okay? That's right. The second one is that you are actually there, that you are exercising control over the property.
Right.
In many cases,
like an owner should be.
Like an owner should be.
Yeah.
You're doing.
So you're actually there.
You're doing what the owner should be doing. That's right. Thirdly is open and notorious. What that means is
Does that mean you have to be famous?
You got you're the notorious squatter. Go to baldbrothers.tv. You can see a notorious. No, I'm just kidding. So notorious, that means that others know that you're there.
Right. For example, so if a squatter moves into a property and, police are called or somebody comes by and they go across the street to the neighbor and they knock on the door and they say, hey, does so-and-so live there? And if the neighbor says, oh yeah, they've been there for X amount of years, whatever it is, that's open and notorious.
Yep. Others have to know that you're there.
It's not a secret
Right.
occupancy.
And number 4 is exclusive. So it's in the possession of the individual occupying the property alone. And
right.
So
it's not like a
co-op.
Co-op. It's not a rotating home for, lots of different people.
Yeah.
It's just one person or a family even.
And the other thing is, and the fifth one is, it has to be continuous. What this means is that for a period, and by the way, the continuous for a period of 5 years.
Right, 5 years.
So it's not 1 year on, 1 year off, and you add it all up, it's 5 years. No, it's got to be continuous for 5 years. And that also means, get this, that you are also paying the property taxes.
The squatter is.
The squatter is. Yeah. I'm saying you as if I'm giving you instructions for how to squat. But no, if the squatter... We're not giving legal advice, and we're not telling you how you can take ownership as a squatter. No, but if the squatter is for a period of 5 years paying the property taxes
and other expenses
and
improving the property. So if they're keeping it maintained, if they're removing debris, if they planted flowers,
they're making improvements to the home.
I mean, basically think about this. If from a stranger's point of view or a neighbor's point of view, that person looks like they live there and they own it, there's a good chance that they could qualify for an adverse possession claim and get title put into their name.
Yeah.
In fact, there was a case, I don't know, it was probably over 10 years ago now, where here in Orange County, there was a townhome, and the owner filed suit against the squatters because he discovered that they had been living there. And it turns out that they were there for more than 5 years. Now, I guess, I don't know if he inherited the property or what happened, but here's what I remember. The bills stopped coming to the owner. The HOA bills stopped coming. The property tax bills
these are signs.
Stopped coming. The utility bills stopped coming.
Yeah.
And this guy lived in Northern California, and his property's in Southern California. And nobody checked on the property. He didn't send anybody. And it was over 5 years before he finally got around to it. Gets down here. There's a family living there. They've been paying the HOA. They've been paying the property taxes. They've been keeping the property up to date. Everybody knows them. They're part of the neighborhood. All the neighbors can name them. They got children going to school. Open and notorious. All these rules were met. Guess what? The guy lost in court. He lost his house.
Lost his title. Lost his house. Wow.
So it can happen. Very rare, but it can happen.
Yep.
So let's give a couple of, there's another story floating around.
Yeah.
But how to deal with squatters.
How to deal with squatters. Well, before we do, let's just, if you're tuning in if you're just tuning in right now and you wonder who are these guys?
Who are these
and what
guys?
Are they talking about? You're listening to the Bald Brothers team at Impact Properties. We are All Things Real Estate is the name of our program. You can reach us at 833-305-BALD with a hard D. Bald, or you can go to baldbrothers.tv to find out who these guys are that are teaching you how to be a squatter. No, I'm just kidding. They're all things real estate. But yes, we work primarily with sellers and talking about how can you prevent, because this is a real issue with a lot of our sellers that are going to have a vacant home, or it might also be a real issue for you if you're going to be gone from your home for a period of time. What are some of the things that you can do to prevent squatters from coming in?
Obviously, if you own the home, make sure that you visit the home.
Yep.
Make sure that you change the locks on the home regularly. If you've given a key to a handyman, a key to a maid, a key to a neighbor, something like that, and you don't know who has the keys anymore, and you don't know if you can trust the person that has a key, change the locks.
Yeah.
Okay. Todd, you had a great recommendation before about
yeah,
that.
I had a recommendation, and one obvious thing. I mean, this is sometimes what you do when you're away from home, even just for a couple of days. Leave a light on.
A light, like maybe on a timer.
On a timer is a good idea. But there's another thing, because talk about the five senses. Well, one of the senses is auditory, and so if you can leave a radio on.
Can you say that again?
Auditory.
Okay, great.
Did you hear me?
I heard you.
Auditory. Yeah, you just have a radio on a radio station that can just be playing. And you could even put that on a timer if you wanted to as well, because somebody coming up, if they hear that there's commotion, something going on in the house, they're going to assume that it's not vacant.
I would also say when you're keeping the utilities on a home to install a Ring doorbell or some sort of video monitoring device, as well as having a security system.
Have a security system.
That way you can be alarmed of anybody and any activity in the home.
And don't allow the home to look like it's not inhabited, which means keep a gardener. Make sure a gardener is going through. If you have a neighbor that you can trust or somebody to pick up the mail.
And I think that's the most important thing that you just said. You have to have neighbors that know that the house is vacant.
That's right.
Neighbors that you trust, neighbors that can come over and talk to a stranger who might show up. In fact, we went to a property today.
That's right.
That's vacant. It's a probate sale.
Yep.
And we've been asked to do a presentation on it. And so
the administrator did give us permission.
Absolutely.
to
got
go over
permission to go and walk around the house. But we were not there more than a minute.
Yeah.
And the next door neighbor.
Yeah, I heard behind me. I heard him shout out, "Hey, I don't think anybody's home."
Yep.
And
great neighbors.
Great neighbor. I went over and talked with him. You ended up coming over and talked with him. We thanked him for being a good neighbor because we need more of those. For watching out, we let him know what's going on, what we were doing. But those are all things to help prevent having squatters come in. But the sad reality is there's only so many things that we can control in life. We do the best that we can, but ultimately, if somebody, a ne'er-do-well, wants to break the law, break a window, get in, he's going to do it. And so now let's say you've got squatters. Now what do you do? What is your recourse as a homeowner to deal with squatters?
Well, first of all, your safety is priority.
Yep.
So make sure that you don't go after dark, you don't go alone, you don't go without informing the authorities. And so you definitely want to make sure that you call the police, you let people know what's going on, you let the neighbors know what's going on, and then you go to the home. You're going to have to confront a squatter if you want them out. And
you and I have lots of friends in law enforcement, they will tell you that if you tell them, "Hey, I've got squatters in my house, I'm going to confront them."
Yeah, they will show
they
up
will
to
get
help you.
there right away because they do not want something happening.
Right. And so you do have to go through a sheriff's eviction if you can't get them out in another way. There is a guy on Fox News that's kind of done a couple of interviews, and he had a creative way. He discovered squatters in one of his properties. And so when they were out, he moved in and he started installing cameras in the house. And when they came back, he told them that they are, that he's the rightful owner, that he's the rightful occupant. Like even when they were there, I think he went and he just opened the fridge and started like eating food out of the fridge. Like, hey, I own it, right? So he just literally moved back in or did what he needed to do. And then he told them that they're going to be on a reality TV show. And that's why he's installing all the cameras.
Oh, yeah.
And apparently they were out by like 2 a.m.
Well, I'll give him points for creativity.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
We're going to put this article in the show notes, but you can go and look it up because apparently he's offering consulting services.
Really?
Yeah, on how to do this. Now, call him, get creative, whatever you have to do. But squatters are no fun. In fact.
And by the way, all of the articles that Aaron's referencing, we will have in our show notes for today's episode. If you are just tuning in right now, you're listening to All Things Real Estate with the Bald Brothers team at Impact Properties. You can reach us at 833-305-BALD. You can also go online to baldbrothers.tv.
And I'd like to give a quick shout out here to my mortgage company. I've got a great team of people that are helping people get qualified, even though rates are high. We are getting loans done anywhere from 14 to 22 days, and we want to help you if you're looking to finance or buy a property over at crosswalkmortgage.com. And in the meantime, we are the Bald Brothers team at Impact Properties. We want to thank you for being a part of today's show. We do want to encourage you to come back.
Yep, all things real estate, but we can only give it to you a piece at a time.
One piece.
Come back next week.
That's right. God bless. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. Thanks for listening to the All Things Real Estate Show. The Bald Brothers team is a licensed DBA of Impact Properties, Inc., licensed by the California Department of Real Estate number 019222671. Again, we do not give any real estate, legal, or financial advice, and we do encourage you to seek the advice of the proper professionals. Equal housing opportunity.